Hello, my name is River. I am fixing up this off-grid abandoned cabin. If you want to go back to the beginning of the story and see my progress to date, you are super welcome to. But today I'm going to hone in on one specific project. I'm gonna be restoring the 2 wood stoves that were left in here. This one is for cooking, and this one is for heating. They are both in fairly rough shape, but worth a lot to me. So I want to get them looking nice and polished. I have never cleaned a cast iron stove before, but I did watch a bunch of YouTube videos. I will link the one that was most helpful in the description. I am first going to just clean off the general surface of both stoves with denatured alcohol. I don't really understand what denatured alcohol is, but the tutorials I watched told me to get it. And then I'm going to start scrubbing off the rust. I just don't want to be scrubbing general dirt that would be easy to get off. So I'm going to go in with a round of denatured alcohol first. Okay, there we go. I'm sorry the lighting sucks. There's no electricity in this cabin. I brought a battery powered lamp, but it can only do so much. I got some of the grime off the top, and now I'm gonna go in with a metal scrub brush and try to clean this up, the top surface. This is looking a lot better. I'm gonna try applying the stove polish even before I clean the rest of it, just to see if it looks good with the stove polish or if this needs more, since I've never done this before. I think this top part looks really good, so I think I'm just gonna keep doing that same system on the rest of it. I am concerned I don't have enough stove polish for 2 stoves, but we're just gonna keep going and see how far we can get. I love these like horse motifs and cabin motifs on the side. It's so cute. That was very satisfying. I'm gonna move over to the front. I'm gonna take this door off and really get in there. Looks like this is a Scandia stove. Can't really tell if it's an E or an A at the end. Come on. Oh. Oh, yep. I'm having a hard time getting this guy off, but I'll grab some pliers. If you have any suggestions for how I can get that off without stripping the screw, please let me know in the comments. Wow, that looks so good. I'm gonna take a quick break and then do the other side. I don't think I'm gonna film the other side because it's exactly the same as this first side that you saw, and because of the way that everything is laid out, I don't feel like it's gonna be very easy to get like any light on it, and I still have to do the other stove. So I'm gonna take a little break and then get done with that, and I'll see you on the other side of the stove. Overall, I'm really, really happy with how this is looking so far. I think that I probably could be more thorough in getting the rust off. I'm doing my best. Having a mechanical wire brush would definitely work better, but I don't have one of those, and I can always clean them again. But yeah, if you've watched my channel, then you know that I very much follow the 80-20 rule, which is the idea that 20% of the effort gets you 80% of the results, and it takes another 80% of effort to get that last 20% of the results. And in my opinion, it's generally not worth it to try to get more than a B grade on whatever I'm doing when I can get a lot more done if I do things like pretty well, but not perfectly. I'm like the opposite of a perfectionist. And sometimes that bites me in the butt, but it also helps me get a lot done. So, all right, I'll see you in a little bit. My son needs his DINNER, so that'll be our little break. We have returned. We have reached the classic part in any river video where we continue the project by the light. Okay, get out of the way. By the light of 2 battery-powered lanterns because it's winter and we have very little daylight. And we got to keep working. So my apologies for the lighting situation. And Romeo wants to say hi. What do you think of the stove, buddy? Got to play with the neighbor dog today for like an hour of hardcore playing with this little lab retriever mix. So named Honey Bear. So that was very fun, huh, buddy? I found more stove polish, which is good because I completely used the container that I had on the other one. And I have about half of my container of denatured alcohol left. So I think that I'll have everything I need to do the oven stove as well. This one is a lot rustier, probably because there's been more liquids on it that, you know, are splattering, steaming, whatever to get water on it. But it doesn't have the detail and the texture of the other stove. So I think it'll take me about the same amount of time. In my Christmas cooking video, I asked what y'all thought about this vent that's on the side. I was having trouble getting the oven hot, and I was kind of putting out into the universe whether y'all thought that this is a firebox for the oven. And a lot of you said that you did think so, but it wasn't coming from a place of having the same stove. My understanding of how these ovens work is that there's a big vent that goes around the oven for the hot air to circulate. And I think that this is kind of like the vent, and that it's able to open up on the side so that the ash, whatever ash gets into the air, can be cleaned out of it. But I don't think that you're supposed to put burning wood directly in there. Not only is it a really small slot, but there's nowhere for the ash to fall, so the ash would build up really, really quickly in there if that were the case. I'm still, you know, this is just me having researched other stoves and trying to figure out what's going on. So again, if you've had a wood stove like this, a small wood stove, and have any thoughts, please let me know. I'm still looking around, and we'll keep doing that while I'm cleaning, for a vent to get the air to circulate around here, because I know the bigger stoves have that. I don't know if, not a vent, but like a switch to change the vent to get the air to start going over there. And the other thought that I had from researching is that maybe I need to close the damper on the flue on here, and that will cause the hot air to back up and go around the oven. I don't think I was doing that last time. So anyway, those are my oven thoughts. If y'all are wondering why I've been wearing a mask, it's mostly because I don't want to inhale the rust dust, but also the stove polish and alcohol isn't super great to be breathing in either. happy with how this is turning out. That looks so much better than it was before. Time for the front. I thought I was filming that whole time and I wasn't. I'm not sure how much you missed, but I just did my best to de-rust the door. I tried to take it off its hinges, but the bolts were stuck again, so I'm just gonna work around that. Breakthrough. This is turning something in here. I think this is the mechanism to turn the oven on and off. I found it! Woo! I'm doing good. I'm in the cabin trying to clean the wood stoves in here. Okay, I'm done. I'm finally done. I'm going to check back in tomorrow so I can show you how the stoves look in the light. I do think that I could have gotten more rust off of it if I had a power tool, but working with those scrubby things, I think I did the best that I can. And I think that it's going to be a huge improvement and that I can, you know, periodically come back to it, maybe come back to it with better tools and just keep maintaining them so they look better and better and better. My wrists are quite tired, not gonna lie. It is the next day. What's up, buddy? And I am so happy with how the stoves turned out. I came in and I started a fire in the heating stove because you're supposed to kind of burn off the chemicals from the stove polish. So I did that, opened all the windows. It's been going for a minute. I didn't do this one because I don't really plan to, I just figured I can do that whenever I actually plan to use it again. I have a propane camp stove that I mostly use unless I'm trying to cook like a whole meal experience type of thing because it takes so much more work to get this guy going. But I am super excited to do more cooking content, more wood-fired cooking content, especially now that I figured out finally how to get the oven to work on the cooking stove. One of my favorite things about having the stoves be polished is that having them be more of a true black really ties together the black frames of the artwork that I have up behind it. Something I really want to do is replacing what is underneath here. I think that this whole being on top of cinder blocks and bricks with a really weird, I think this is just concrete underneath it, that's been sort of like filed down to smooth it into the edges of the floor. Anyway, this looks horrible. I would love to put down some stone type tile underneath here and create like a real hearth setup. I think that that would look really good and would really make this whole area a lot better. But I think that for now, polishing it and getting it cleaned up is a big improvement. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know a whole lot didn't happen, but I hope that it was satisfying for you to watch the transformation of the stoves. There's some other projects kind of like this where it's gonna take me a lot of concentrated effort to do one thing, like scraping the paint off of the door and the windows and repainting them. If you are down to watch me do that more kind of detailed content, let me know in the comments. I have a bunch of videos planned for this month. I have been working on the back room of the cabin, and I actually started that before I even started the stoves, but I really wanted to get a lot of progress done in that video. I'm not sure when I will be releasing that, how much more progress I want to make before I'm gonna call it and post it. But thank you so much for watching. If you want to support Romeo and I, you can subscribe to our Patreon, you can comment, you know, share, like, etc. I'm on Instagram and TikTok if you want to follow me there. And also, something I haven't mentioned yet is that I am a photographer. I primarily do nature portraits, and my photography company is called Skyclad Studio. I'm going to link it below. If you live in the Pacific Northwest or you're down to travel here, you can also support me by booking a photo shoot with me. I am booking all of 2026 right now, so I know that the weather isn't super great. We could always go somewhere with snow, but if you want to wait until it's warm, we can always book in advance. Something I also offer is that I'll take people on hike and shoots where I will bring them to a destination that you have to hike to, whether that's a waterfall or a really epic cliffside view, etc., etc. And we'll get photos all along the way, and then at the final destination, you're like, why is the person who just cleaned their stove trying to get me to book a photo shoot? I'm going to go. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.